welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as TooLizForYou, TOOLIZZFORYOU.
And I'm CPREDMOR at Ravelry. On Instagram, I post as Knitting in Our Jeans. I don't think I posted anything this week. It's been a bit of a chaotic week. As I said, Rich and I drove down to Alexandria, Virginia, where we were in attendance on my mom, who had her pacemaker battery replaced, which apparently is supposed to be a relatively simple job, but she's 93, will be 94 in January, and the battery is somewhere up here in her shoulder.
I think that's how they access it.
Well, that could be. Anyway, she's black and blue.
Yeah.
She has been complaining for she complained for at least 3 days that her shoulder really hurt. I mean, she's going around like her arms like this. You know, it's like useless, which I understand. But she will not take Tylenol. She will not take any painkillers that the doctor said she could take. Just won't. And it's been very difficult. So I didn't get as much knitting done. I will tell you that one entire day I spent cleaning her apartment. She no longer can clean. So even though I call her and she says, I've been very busy cleaning, she has not been very busy cleaning. So I was on my hands and knees scrubbing. I bought my own scrub brush because she didn't have any. She apparently had been using a Swiffer, which I guess if you use every day will keep your kitchen floor clean. I mean, I personally, I honestly get on my hands and knees, but I don't use a scrubber. I just spray and I get at it with just paper towels because this was sticky.
Oh, see, that's when I soak it with spray and then I put a paper towel over it and I let it like soak and then I wipe.
This was sticky.
I have a process and I'm always worried that something like that is growing something, and then I will get it in the brush, and then the brush will start growing something, and then I will get sick. I washed
it with hot water and Dawn.
Right, but I have these fears.
It wasn't going to do anything. And I went up on the wall where there was splashback. So now the kitchen is clean.
Good.
At least it was clean. Rich picked up a peanut that she loves to come in and do these little diving runs where she grabs a handful of peanuts. And then one or two will drop out. I understand that. But she doesn't know they've dropped out, therefore she doesn't pick them up. We found one peanut out of the many that we found. One peanut had ants.
Okay.
So we think we caught the infestation early because when I'm down on my knees in the kitchen, I didn't see any more. I got a lot of potato chip pieces up, more nuts. I found 5 different pills that were her medications. So it means that she somewhere in the history of time, she thought she was taking this pill, and she didn't take it because it fell on the floor.
I mean, I have also dropped pills on the floor and then just gone and gotten another one. Because it has gone under a thing, and I'm like, I will get that when I clean the floor next. I don't know
that she knows that she didn't take it.
Okay, I'm just saying, because I'm saying as someone who is not 94, who has done that.
I got that. However, while I was there, in the 3 days, she managed to take her antibiotics twice because she couldn't remember
if she had taken them.
So, there seems to be a growing issue.
Yes.
This is a woman whose kitchen floor you used to be able to eat off of.
Yes.
Yes. So, anyway, it's clean now, or cleaner now, because she's only had a couple days by herself to drop things on it, which is why it's not clean as it would have been had she been cleaning it. But anyway, we vacuumed. She has a Roomba whose battery has worn out. And I guess what somehow we need to do is get it a new battery or get her a new Roomba. Because when she got the Roomba, she did it because she was getting too frail to use the vacuum that she's got. Because it's a hefty vacuum. Hefty vacuum, yes. Anyway, I used the hefty vacuum. I cleaned the toilets. I washed the bathroom floors. I did not clean the shower because I cleaned the bathtub. in her bathroom, which I think my brother's using, but be that as it may, I got it cleaner. It took an entire day.
Yep.
So a day that had it been a normal visit, we would have been knitting like crazy.
Mm.
So yeah, we took a really good look at my mom's
status.
Well, apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided this is what we're going to do. And we did it.
Okay.
It just means that every time we go down, we're going to have to set aside a day to clean the apartment.
Okay. Well, we should also invest in knee pads then.
Well, I knelt on towels.
We should invest in knee pads if we're going to do this.
That sounds
regularly.
fine. I actually took towels out and knelt on them, and then we washed the towels.
I just know from doing my own floors, I have to put a yoga mat down because I do my floors about once a month.
We
and I kneel on my yoga mat.
The foam from D'Artagnan that we put down. But I had towels under my knees, so my knees were fine. What did hurt was my sciatic nerves. From the getting up and getting down, getting up and getting down.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's cleaner now.
Good.
But it does mean that, at least once every 3 months, we got to get down there and do this. Unless she's managed to move either in with my brother, in with me, or gone to a local assisted living place near her that she's got a deposit at. Anyway, didn't get a lot of knitting done. Didn't get as much done as I wanted to. Because I didn't get to sit just and chat with her as I wanted to. It's just one of those things.
It happens.
It happens. And so, I meant to call her dinner time to make sure she took her antibiotic. Anyway, we'll muddle through. Anyway, what have you been working on? I've got a couple things I was working on.
Well, I said last week I was going to weave in all the ends on my blanket I'm gifting to a friend or to a coworker, and the hats and such I've made. Yeah, that didn't happen because I pulled the blanket out to weave in the ends, and I fell asleep under it. So I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
I've already done the hats and the top.
Yes, I saw that.
I will have those done, and I will bring those into work tomorrow to gift.
This will be ready for Tuesday.
No, I think I only have this much left to do.
Oh, that'll go.
I only have those. Well, yeah, I mean, it's going quickly. It's just I fell asleep doing it.
It looks great.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. What the heck happened here?
I don't know, tied together.
I am. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing today. But I also have been knitting on a few other things.
Okay.
But what else? Have you been doing any
knitting?
Little things?
Little things. Well, I've been working on the shawl.
Oh.
Let me get this out. I want to make sure I don't rip it off the needle. I think when we were here the last time, it fell off the needle, and I was able to fix it.
Good.
So now we're up to here.
So pretty. Wow.
So I've actually started the main part of the pattern.
Yeah.
So there's a pattern that goes up the side here. You can see that continuing. And then this pattern, and you want to hold this in?
Sure.
This pattern in the middle actually ends up with lines going this way. So it's not really cable, but lines cross. And that's the main part. And then the pattern over here continues.
I think that's one of my triangles I lost a few weeks ago.
Well, if so, you lost it in my house.
I did lose it in your house.
Well, yeah, then it is.
Oh, okay. I was just asking. It was more of a like, oh, did you also get triangles?
I found it.
Ah, then yeah, that's the one I lost.
Okay.
Cool. Good to know that Gremlins didn't take it.
No, Gremlins didn't take it. I did.
That's fine. That's acceptable.
We will talk later, but this will at least have one day a week where I'm working on it only.
Because the deadline has been extended due to the current situation in the United States, specifically in New York with COVID and Omicron. So
one day a week, I can do probably, close to one pattern repeat in a day. So, that gives me the leave to work on a few other things.
Yes.
So you talk about one.
So I I think, just over halfway through color number 9. So this is what the Kuschelig is looking like. It's a little stripy. I thought it was going to be more gradient. Melody? Yeah, it's a little stripy, but whatever.
I love it.
I like the yarn. The yarn is Goosey Fibers sock. I'm enjoying it. Again, I thought it was going to turn out more gradient, but it's turning out very stripy-like. So, but I worked on that. That is an advent from 2019, I think. So yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm really liking it. I'm going to have to wind up some, or like the next 2 colors. I think I have the next 2 colors downstairs ready to be wound up, so I'll wind those up. Okay. Either before we leave, or I'll wind them up at my place, because it's good car knitting. Right. So I got work done on it when we were driving all around last weekend, and I got a bunch of it done. Actually, during we went to see the opera that some of our choir members were in today, so I got a good amount done on it then. But yeah, so that's been the thing I've pulled out. I also had 2 church meetings this week, so I did pull out the Nebbia, which I'm gonna tell y'all, knitting, doing flat knitting, much slower than knitting in the round on size 3s. Or size 2s, whatever size I'm on. So, yeah, that was a revelation? It was frustrating. Because I've got, I think 3 inch. I've got to do 3 inches flat, and then I start doing some shaping. Or something like that. Maybe it's 5 inches. But it's more inches than I am excited about. So, got it. Okay. But I did make the split on that. So I'm excited to have gotten to that point. But you have anything else you've been working on?
Yes. We discussed the Artichoke French sleeve last week, where it was brought to my attention that it was not supposed to be rib all the way up. So I tried to take the sleeve and bring it down a column and bring it back up. And I did it while I was at my mother's house, and I managed to get to this column, which sets off the pattern, and I made that all stockinette stitch. And at that point I said, I'm not happy. So I ripped it out, and I arbitrarily decided that was a good cuff length. Yeah. Right there. So I ripped it out down to there. And I did it again. So I actually will have made this sleeve 3 times by the time I get it done. So this is a finished right sleeve. And I know it's a right sleeve because I have this little sweater on it. Nice. So that's the right sleeve. And I have gotten this far on the left sleeve. Wow. Nice. So I should be able to finish the sleeve this week. And again, if I spend a day at it, I will finish the sleeve. So that's my goal. At least a day on this.
All right. Okay. So I went to knit night this week, and I pulled out, since it's, Christmas time, I figured I should finish my Christmas gift for my cousin and my niece and my nephew. So I cast on a baby sock. Does anyone see what I did wrong, though? Why am I knitting a cuff down sock? Oh. I was going on autopilot, and I think it's because I was looking at the numbers for the sock, Rye Sock Light, which is the free sock pattern from Tin Can Knits. And I was looking at their numbers, and theirs is a top-down sock. I just went with it. So we're just going to go with it. I will just 3 needle... No, and I will 3 needle bind off the toe, and he will be none the wiser, because these are going to be the smallest size. So I think I'm going to knit probably a 3-inch sock for the nugget.
Are you putting in a heel?
No, not for the little one.
Tube socks are fine.
The little... for Chloe doesn't have heels either in hers. Oh, okay. They're both tube socks. So, But yeah, so maybe, I don't know if, I think I'm going to do about 3 inches and then the toe. And yeah, but I thought it was so funny. I got through the ribbing and I just stopped for a second. They were like, "You okay?" I was like, "Why am I knitting a top-down sock?" And everyone was like, "I mean, they're fine." I was like, "I know they're fine. I just don't usually do it." No. We are a toe-up family here. Unless the pattern specifically dictates.
Right, or if you're doing sock...
Tour de sock,
where you have to do the patterns as they are written.
Or if it's a, like, directional pattern, like a lace pattern, and you're...
And even then, sometimes I do it toe up.
Yeah, but, like, yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, seriously, brain? We autopiloted this? Okay. Yes.
Yes. So, I am going to then spend a day on... Chloe's dress.
Okay.
I'll spend a day on Ixchel, and then I can spend a day with a new sweater that we just did the sweater math on. Catedral pullover. It's from EweKnit.
In Toronto?
In Toronto, which is why it's Catedral and not Cathedral.
Yeah.
Yep. I already own the pattern.
Nice.
It is written for worsted. What I have is 5 skeins of Neighborhood Fiber Co. Mondalman, which I think is a neighborhood in Washington, D.C. In, what kind of colorway is this? No, Mondalman is the color. This is Studio Sock. And this is to replace a sweater that I had in my sweater drawer that got eaten or caught on something. So it needs to be
replaced.
Replaced is right. So Catedral has, just looking at it casually, it looks like some kind of texture or cable thing going at the top. It's not a multicolored sweater.
No.
It's a textural sweater, which is more my jam. And we did the math, and we decided we did
some quick and dirty math.
Yeah.
To let you know how we do that, just because I know a lot of people don't particularly like sweater math, and I tend to be very good at it. Not tooting my own horn, but I get a lot of text messages asking for help on it, so that's why I'm saying
it's not. And this is not the way I necessarily would have done it, because you did it really fast. I would have done a gauge swatch.
So again, as I said, quick and dirty, because Mom just wanted to know that she had enough yarn.
Yes,
and I kind of wanted to make sure that she wasn't outside of the range of the pattern, be going down from worsted down to sock.
Okay.
Like, if it were an Aran weight sweater, you could not have gone down to sock. There wouldn't have been enough sizes on the top end.
Unless they had really gone out.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, with the sizes that were presented in Catedral. So, what I did was I looked at the ball band, and I found the recommended gauge. So, it's 7 to 8 inches on a US size 1 or 2. We took the 7 stitches on 2, because I don't particularly want to subject my mother to knitting a sweater on 1s.
Well, and I'm not looking for a sock fabric sweater.
Right.
If I were knitting a sock, I would be knitting on a size 1 or a size 1.5. So I know what that does. I don't need this sweater to be that tight.
Right.
So a 2 is fine.
So then we looked at the math, or the gauge for the pattern, which as written, which is a 4.75 on 7s. I then just wanted to check and see if she had any fingering weight sweaters that she had done on 7s. She hadn't. All of them were done on 5s or 6s.
Yes.
The closest we found was a 5.25 on 6s. So that was kind of where I was also thinking, like, okay, then that also led me to believe that you would probably still be within range. So, just for a small recap in the middle, the more stitches per inch, the more stitches you will need to get around your body. So if you are going if your pattern has, say, 4 stitches per inch in the gauge, and you're knitting either your gauge swatch or your yarn, whatever you're going by, has more stitches per inch, you will have to go up in sizes in order to make the substitution.
In order to get the number of stitches you need to go around your body, because I'm using a smaller yarn. So,
which creates more stitches per inch.
Right. So roughly, if this pattern was written, so it was 4 stitches to the inch, and my fingering, we could say 8 stitches to the inch, you would have to find a pattern size that doubled the amount of stitches that you cast on.
Yeah.
I mean, and so
actually what I do,
a ratio.
And well, what I typically do is I find the chest stitches.
Yes.
So if it's a top-down sweater, I find where you separate for the sleeves, and I find that stitch count for after the sleeve separation, because that gives you your body measurement, or your body stitch count. This is a bottom-up sweater, so it does not have any shaping to it, so I was able to just use the cast-on number.
Meanwhile, I will put some shaping in this.
I know you will.
But, you know, and I have extra yarns because I wanted to make it longer.
So, with the numbers we had, Mom said she was going to be making a size 37 3/4 if she had the right gauge.
Yarn.
With the math, we figured out she would be making the 56.5.
Yeah.
This pattern, that is the second largest size in this pattern, which is why I said if she was using a smaller yarn or wanted to knit it at a tighter gauge, I don't know if she would still be able to make this substitution. So that's why I was saying I wanted to do this quick and dirty math beforehand, whereas she was more concerned with yarn usage, and I was like, I don't want to have to rewrite the whole pattern. Which neither of us have a problem with. I just didn't want to do that tonight. Because when Mom does it, she likes me to check it.
Yes.
And I just didn't want to do that tonight, to be honest.
Because I don't want to be doing, you know, rib all the way up the sleeve.
Sorry.
But I did have, so here we know I have at least another pattern size to go to.
Yeah.
I am going to do a gauge swatch. First of all, I'm going to wind one of these skeins. I'm going to do a gauge swatch with the 2 just to check our math.
And throw it in the
washer and dryer.
Yeah. Because I actually don't know if that one's superwash anymore because it's the organic.
What does it say?
It's
machine
organic
washable.
Oh, okay. I would just check it because I don't think we've used the new
I can do a 4" by 4" and see what happens.
Yeah.
So anyway, sweater math is fine. You don't have to use the yarn that the pattern calls for. You can make substitutions. You can either substitute fingering for fingering, or you can do some math to say, I want to substitute a studio for fingering, or a fingering for a DK.
You mean a worsted for a fingering, or lace or something. But
you can go smaller, or you can go larger.
Exactly. And we've done both.
Yes.
But I just wanted to go into that because I know when we talk about it really casually, but that is because it works for my brain very easily.
Math is our friend. Knitting is very math-oriented.
Yeah, and it works for me. It was funny. My boyfriend had a chat with a bunch of his friends, and I was in the background, and I was going to be building some IKEA furniture that we had purchased because I really wanted to build something. And one of his friends had brought someone else and was like, oh, you're not going to be joining us? And I was like, no. And one of his other friends was like, oh, so you build things? And I was like, yes, I build everything from IKEA furniture to clothing to buildings. It's like I do this for a living. And it was very funny because it got softballed to me, and I like hit it out of the park. But it was
just no idea what you did?
No, the new person did.
Ah, the new person.
So it was just very funny because I was like knocking out
if my husband wouldn't throw a fit and have a heart attack, I'd have a boat kit in the backyard, make my own boat.
It'd be so much fun.
You know, it's...
He would have a fit, though.
He would, but there's a catamaran that the Chesapeake Light Boat Company makes. Is it the best catamaran? No. It's actually a trimaran.
I know.
Is it the best? No. It would be tiny. It would be a tight fit for us. But if I can't get a boat any other way, by next year this time, there'll be a boat kit in the backyard.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited to hear the statements of, do you know what your mother did? Yes, Dad, I do. You just didn't listen.
No.
But yeah, so I thought that was really funny because I was like, yeah, this is just what I do. I make things. But yeah, so with sweater math, it's not intended to be scary. And it's just...
Basically, you're making a ratio. If the gauge on the sweater is 7 stitches to the inch on a size 2, and the pattern is written for 4.5 stitches to the inch on a size 7, it's, 4.5 over a 7 equals 7 or 8 stitches over the 2. And you can do the math.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you're going to do it for yourself, and you want to do it kind of quickly or just trying to figure out what you wanted to do, just find those numbers, either a gauge swatch or use what's on the ball band, or use a similar weight project you've already knit on needles that you intend to knit it on. So say size 5s in fingering weight.
And look at the number of stitches that you cast on, and then you...
Well, not even that. You look at the gauge that you achieved on that
But
project.
You could also say, well, I cast on about 300 stitches for that. So what's the size pattern over here that's roughly a 300 stitch? And then I would do the gauge swatches and just check it to see, because you might want to go up a size or down a size.
Yeah. So that's just, and I always, when looking at patterns and trying to do the comparative math, I always look for the chest size. Typically, if it's a top down, as I said, it's after the sleeve separation, or if it's bottom up, if there's shaping, it's right before you start the arms or arm side. Or if it's no shaping, then it is just your cast on.
So the sweater that the Catedral has no shaping at all. So it's going to allow me to cast on and have it sit at my hips and then go up, and then I can measure where I'd like to have a bit of my waist shaping. I'll probably take it in 16 stitches.
Probably.
As I go up into my waist and out, because I have a waist. And so I'm going to make it more of an A-line type of sweater. And so again, these are things you can do when you're knitting, and you can try them on and rip them out. I mean, does it sometimes feel sad to rip it out? Yes, but I would rather rip it out and get the sweater that really fits me the way I want it to fit than to go, oh no, I'm gonna just motor through this thing.
And I think that applies to almost any pattern. I have a few friends who have recently...
harder in sewing.
It is. I just meant in knitting. I have had a few friends recently who have found old projects who have decided to reclaim the yarn because they're just not going to finish that one, and that's okay.
No, that's fine.
And you just go.
Because your taste changes. No, I was thinking of sewing, where if you don't have the pattern cut out right, or giving yourself extra room in the seams. By the way, customized patterns or custom sewing often meant that you had seams with an inch in the seam allowance, which allowed you to make changes after you cut it. Because the difference is in sizes within the dress patterns are often only about 1/4 of an inch. So if you've got a seam allowance of an inch, you're giving yourself the possibility of moving up and down 3 sizes or more. How cool is that? Well, we can do that easily in knitting.
Yes.
Easily. So I'm going to work on my Ixchel 1 day a week. I'm going to work on my new sweater a day a week. I'm going to work on my shawl a day a week. And then I have a problem.
You have a problem?
I have a problem. Oh.
You have problem?
Well, I did work on my sock. Remember this gray sock that I said I was making to go with another sock? I've gotten to the heel.
I was going to say, have you lost the sock that had lost its mate?
I think I have.
I said that joking.
I think I have.
Aww.
But I've gotten to the heel. I have put in the waist yarn for the heel here. But we'll see how much yarn I have left over. So I've made it halfway. I basically make a sock with the leg as
long as the foot.
Equidistant as the toe is from the heel, then heel to the toe. And so that's what I'll do. And if I have enough, I'll make another one. we packed up to possibly move this summer, and there's things that I can't find.
I know.
This morning it was slips because I wanted to wear my Christmas dress, and it's cold. It was 35 degrees here. I wanted a slip. Also because I sing in the choir, and you strip off your dress, and I'd rather be standing there in a slip rather than just my bra and panties. You know, it's a privacy thing, modesty thing. Couldn't find my slip, so I wore something else. So I'm going to go through my closet tomorrow. Oh, the other thing, Richard was asleep, so I didn't want to be trashing the bedroom, throwing things around, trying to find the slip when he's asleep, because he wouldn't be asleep very long.
No.
I'll do that tomorrow once he's awake. I have an idea of where I might have put them. Otherwise, I'm tearing everything apart. I'm rearranging things so I can find things.
So what is this PomPom you have?
I have to find the bag.
Oh, we have to find the bag.
We have to find the bag. I have to find the bag. Not this. Not this. Sugar.
Is it the thing you just had?
Yes.
It's right here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so when I was going through the closet to try to find the Estonian yarn, I found the beginning of the Oracle Shawl.
Oh.
Now, the question is, do I finish making a full pie Oracle Shawl?
Or do you make the half pie Oracle?
No. Or do we find a sweater that I can make with 1,200 yards that uses these colors? Look at this. Look at this. This is beautiful. And I won't really wear the shawl. We know that. Unfortunately. I have one full pie shawl. I've got another one that I got bored with knitting, and I stopped 30 rows short, so of course it's too small. But sweaters I wear. I mean, we could also throw in a gray or a black.
Give me a second. I've got
an idea.
I've got ideas. I know I've got some ideas. So
this
give me
is
a
fingering. And I actually have it in my Ravelry as to what the color names are. I do love these colors. They're my colors.
So I have seen this sweater done by many people, and it's gorgeous.
3-color?
Yeah.
Or 4-color?
No, it's 3-color.
All right, we have to see how much.
So this is what I'm saying is the Ember by Yuko Suzumi, and it is really beautiful. I've seen it multiple places, and I've seen it a lot recently because Mayak did it. But it is, so it does, so it calls for, let's see, the smallest, so let's see, the sizes are, so EweKnit probably the smallest size, which is a 42.
Yes.
Because it's a little bit oversized. So that calls for 2 skeins. Why does it call for 2 skeins of each? What is the yardage required?
I'm looking at a pair of darn pretty needles.
Wow. So the long sleeve version calls for 2, 2, and 1. The short sleeve version calls for 2, 1, and 1.
What's the yardage?
It's, so the yardage is 400 a skein of what they're calling for. She doesn't have it broken out by color, by yardage.
So I could
She has it by skein. You could pick whichever one is your main color, and that you could find one that matches it. If you want that to be your main color, because that would be, so that would be like
the red.
The red.
Or I pull another color out that's in here.
Yeah.
And so I've got,
or a blue maybe?
Well, that's what I'm looking at over there.
The dark one? This one? Or
That's,
this one?
You pull them both down. Whoa.
Okay then.
Oh, I like that.
This is Easterwood. This you have an entire sweater's quantity of, though. So.
We have yarn falling down.
No, if you want to do the Easterwood.
Instead of the woolly yak?
Instead of the woolly yak. Because we can also reach out to...
this is good.
Yeah. But we could also... But I only think you have one of those.
That's fine. Like. I bought it to be a dark color in something, just to have it. Mm-hmm. So, this works. All right.
Do you want me to text this to you?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, I have some color. Well, maybe. We can talk about maybe doing a knit along together, you and me, because I have yarn picked out for it too.
Cool. Well, I'm going to look at the pattern and add it to my queue and find out what knitting needle I use and find out what darn pretty needle I've got in here. The darn pretty needles, they're very sharp, pointed, handmade needles that I found out about from Miss Babs. It's a husband and wife team that make them. Not enamored of the wire between them.
Or of the customer service.
Right. Because I actually had one of a pair of a size 8 that broke. And I have no idea why. The needle was in the ball of yarn. Yes, it was in the car, and it went from work to home, but it snapped. And I said, is there a way to get another one? At that point, they didn't have any. I said, do you see any problem with me sharpening it in a pencil sharpener? And they said, well, you must have mistreated it. Well, the answer was, sure, sharpen it in a pencil sharpener, which I did. It's just really, I found it odd to be knitting with one that's half size. Yeah. It's not bad if you're knitting in the round because I could put the short one in my left hand, so it's just holding the stitches and I'm knitting with the right. If you end up going back and forth, however, it's a little weird. I do like the needles. They've only had that one break. Whereas I've managed to break all kinds of 1s, 2s, and 3s. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. If they're the carbons, I can pull them out from the end. If they're wooden, I just snap the things. Obviously, I've got a lot of tension.
Obviously.
But yes, you and I can do that. Option. That's perfect. We will do that. And I've got this. This will go back.
I can go put that back.
What's this? This is my sock. We can work on that. I've got 7 projects here now, I think.
Oh, my word. One for every day of the week.
I know. I'm just guessing. So that's really all I've been working on. I haven't finished anything, but I've made progress on a lot of things.
You have.
I'll finish the sleeve. I don't know that I'll finish the sock, but I'll get close to it because I can just rip along with that. Yeah. Yeah. While I'm reading a book on my iPad. Yeah. Yeah. My mother was shocked. She goes, "You don't have to look at your knitting." I said, "No, I don't have to look at my knitting. In fact, what I do is I prop my iPad on my lap. I'm reading a book, so I'm, it's just, it won't work with a real book because you have to somehow keep the pages open. Yeah. It works on an iPad. I'm sure it works on a Kindle, all that kind of stuff. And I knit along and I'm reading the book. Yeah. Because if I'm stockinette stitching, or it's an easy pattern, knit 2, purl 2, I can do this without looking. So it works out. What else?
I didn't bring my Advents this week because it's a lot of yarn. Yeah. And we've been working on moving the boyfriend in. Yes. So getting all that IKEA furniture I talked about put together and organized. And so just didn't grab it to bring it over here. But I'll post a photo when it's all together.
Sounds good.
And, but we have your Advents.
So this is Miss Babs, and I have to say, I am thrilled beyond words with what I bought from Miss Babs. They really are my colors. I'm so pleased that I chose this. And this sticking up is a repair kit.
So it's 3 different size little mini crochet hooks
that I can put on my keys and have them. Yeah. I am very, very pleased with this, and I'm thrilled with these colors. Not to say that I'm upset with the Silent Fibers. Not at all. Look at this lower level of colors.
I mean, either way, it's a great Rainbow gradient.
It is.
It's beautiful.
Look at this. Whoops.
It's beautiful.
Hello. There we are.
Yeah.
Also, did we wish Happy Hanukkah to our Jewish?
I thought we had.
I just want to make sure. And certainly Merry Christmas to people who are Christian. And Happy Kwanzaa for people who celebrate Kwanzaa. Next Sunday, we're going to be driving.
We might record early.
We might. We'll see. Because we're going to be in the same place on Friday and during the day on Saturday. Friday night's probably our best bet because we'll be in the hotel.
Yeah, we'll see.
I know Richard and I are driving on Sunday, barring any strange change in plans. So anyway, and anybody else who has any other kind of holiday,
we hope you have a happy one.
Absolutely. You stay safe, you stay healthy. And I don't say that necessarily just because of COVID. You're looking at a person who used to get sick every Thanksgiving because we had
cousins by the dozens.
Cousins by the dozens, and there were hugs and kisses all around, and we love hugs and kisses, but there was always one person who must have been incubating a cold because I always came away with a cold and upset sinuses and all this other kind of stuff. Our Christmas is going to be, I think, the same size +1 of our, +2 of our Thanksgiving. Ben,
+2 -1.
Ben and Sarah.
Minus Uncle.
Rob, right. One of my brothers just pulled out because he misread the instructions for Amtrak travel, and he thinks that he has to get a COVID test within 24 hours of getting on the train. We've read the instructions, and we think it means that within 24 hours he has to attest to Amtrak that he is either vaccinated or has not been in the company of anybody who has COVID or some combination.
He is worried because it is difficult to get tests.
It's very difficult.
So we acknowledge
people are lined up around the block.
I have heard many a story of 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, easily.
And 3 to 4 hours, and they have not been guaranteed a test.
Right.
So.
And we were talking within the choir group this morning. There are almost no home tests to be had in the pharmacies because people have looked. So we explained to him how we read the information. He said, "Thank you very much. I'm not going to go." Now,
which is fine and his prerogative.
Right. He works from home. It's very unlikely that he has been exposed in any way, shape, or form. But everybody has to act according to their comfort level.
Yes.
And this is his. So that's fine. The rest of us are going to be gathering at my brother's. And they're the same people we gathered with at Thanksgiving. My husband is a little concerned that we're taking my mother down to my brother's house outside of Richmond. But my brother stays with my mother at least one night a week, every week. So whatever's in Richmond is up in her apartment.
It's fine.
It'll be fine. I mean, the only person she doesn't see is the dog. And so
I might have something wrong with him,
he might. But I don't think it'll be germs that he'll pass on to my mother.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think his problem is more surgical than medical.
Poor pupper.
Yes.
But yeah. So
anyway,
be recording.
This is a time of year that people gather with their families, and we hope that you can gather with everyone you wish to gather with safely and securely and healthily, so that you all remain healthy. There's a word in there someplace. All right, now continue on with what you're going to do. What were you going to say, that we're going to record early?
We're going to record probably not regularly for the next 2 weeks, but we will try and record
at least
once more before the end of the year, and then it'll probably be the new year, just because of scheduling.
Right, because you're going to be away.
Yes.
Yes. And we all have to recover after New Year's. We are having a New Year's Eve party here because my husband started to invite people. Left to my own devices, I wouldn't have invited anybody, but
that's okay.
He misses his
friends,
buddies. He does. Everybody has been vaxxed. I've already checked on that. And yeah, everybody's been vaccinated, and most of them had their booster shots. So I think if I put my foot down, I don't want to be creating a scene that is not necessary. I think we're going to have a much more simplified meal plan. I think I'll have some chicken. I'll have some ribs because I can make those hot in the slow cooker. Bagels and lox, so that we have fish for good luck. And then I was in the grocery store today. There's prosciutto di Parma. So I'm thinking I could have like little toasties and have prosciutto.
Okay.
I love prosciutto ham.
I do too.
So,
I mean, I buy 2 packs of it every time I go into the
I love prosciutto, and prosciutto di Parma is like the best prosciutto. It's supposed to be. It was off American plates for over 30 years because the Italian government and the American government were spitting at each other. Well, it's back in the markets and has been for about 15 years. And I saw it and went, could have had a V8. We're going to have some prosciutto di Parma. I need to look up and find out what kind of cheese would go with it. I'm thinking maybe an Edam or a Gouda.
I don't know.
Because it would be a bland kind of flavor.
I don't know.
I'm not going to eat it, but
exactly.
I can't.
I don't know.
I, of course, can have mozzarella slices.
Yes, you will.
Yes. So, but I can buy those. I can buy the Parma, have it sliced. The little toasty things, they come in a package. I just broke a nail.
No.
So that's easy. The ribs, I make my own barbecue sauce because one of our friends who is coming has severe food reactions to preservatives. So if I make the
Mary
Berry, thank you. I was going to call her Nancy. That's ridiculous, and I knew that wasn't right. Mary Berry recipe for barbecue sauce, and then I use that in the slow cooker with Coca-Cola. And so you've got the sweet, you've got the acid, and the barbecue sauce. It works like a charm, and it cooks, oh gosh, for about 10 hours, and the meat comes right off the bone.
Good.
I mean, it's delicious. And then chicken, which I'll actually cook in minestrone soup.
Okay.
And so you can make a whole pan of that. So it's over, it's done. So it's things that can be done in advance. So that's my plan. And then everybody can bring dessert because I'll be done by that time. Good. Your father can buy the drinks.
He does enjoy that.
He does enjoy that. And I'll have lots of iced tea for myself. He does like the advent calendar we got him. So tonight...
So we didn't open it last week because we were so tired. We didn't drink with dinner last week.
We didn't.
So he's been opening 2 bottles a week because there are 4 of us now. Well, there are 3 of us drinking it.
Right.
And Mom has a sip. And it's just very cute because he obviously has been waiting to share it with us, which is very sweet. And he's getting a lot of joy out of it because we all take a sip, we make comments, we look up different things about it.
Swirls it around, he sniffs it. Makes quite a production. Anyway, tonight was Freshenette and then Gambino.
So a cava and a cuvée.
Right. So I've heard of Freshenette. Cava was delicious. I'm going to buy a bottle or 2 of that for the party. I actually like a rosé sparkling wine. Kendall makes a nice one. Moët Chandon makes a very nice one. And I may get a bottle of that. I may get a bottle of that for myself. I'm going to go to Young's Liquors.
Go for it.
And I'm going to get a bottle of that for myself. Not to drink all by myself, but so I can have that much.
Have un petit.
Un petit peu. Because I like a sparkling rosé. I really do.
Yes.
Yes. I like it sweet. I like sweet tea.
Do? Yes.
And I like sweet wine.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and with that, I have finished weaving in my ends. So with that, I think it's time for us to sign off, and we will talk to you all later. Bye. Bye-bye.